scholars, welcome back to another video. Today I just wanted to spend some time talking about Joanne Fluke's chocolate chip cookie murder. It is a cozy murder mystery. I know it sounds very ironic, but it is. It's a cozy murder mystery that I was recommended by my beloved mother, and I'm so glad I listened to her. She's going to be so happy to hear this. I am very glad I listened to her. This book literally, it's a murder mystery that also teaches you how to bake, and it gives you so many different baking recipes, and there are little tips or tricks hidden within the writing as you're reading, because the main character of this book is a baker. She owns a cookie store. It's called the Cookie Jar, and our main character's her name is Hannah. She runs her own business and she solves murder while she makes cookies, which I think is a fantastic combination. But yes, this book is really good. I was really surprised by it. I was a little apprehensive going into it just because I wasn't sure what to expect. I didn't know if this was going to be a book I really enjoyed or if it was just going to be like, yeah, okay, I'll read it because my mom suggested it. No, I actually did really enjoy it. This book is right up my alley. I love some of the humor in this book. It's really good. Our main character, Hannah, she's got some great wit to her that makes everything a lot more enjoyable. And the murder mystery itself, the aspect of the murder mystery, is actually really well done. It keeps you on your toes until the very last second, even though you have all these little pieces kind of falling into place, leading you towards the murderer. And once the murder is revealed, you're just like, oh yes, that makes total sense. And it's just a really well done book. I counted them, there are 7 recipes in here. There's a little index at the very back of the book after you finish it, of index of cookie recipes, that's what it's called. There are 7 recipes throughout the book, and it actually has the full recipes. It has the instructions on how to bake these, and all of the recipes are things that our main character Hannah talks about and makes in the book itself. These are recipes that she uses and gives to people or brings to events or parties. And it's a really cool format. I've never seen something so hands-on and almost like fourth wall breaking, in a sense of giving the readers the recipes of what Hannah's making. And even I believe there are some notes, yeah, on the recipes itself, oh well, this is, Andrea's favorite cookies since high school. Andrea is Hannah's sister in the book, so it's a very neat fourth wall break of we're getting recipes from Hannah herself as readers. It's really cool. And this is a whole series, so this book is just the first of Joanne Fluke's series. I can't even remember how many there are in this series, but all of her books follow this same format from what I've been told, is that all of them have these recipes within them that you get to read and learn how to bake at the same time. So it's really cool because it's oh, you can read a mystery, solve a murder, and learn how to bake at the same time. Where else are you gonna have that opportunity? Besides the whole baking aspect and the fourth wall break and everything, this book is really good and really well written. You can tell Joanne Fluke has spent a lot of time really crafting her story and coming up with the idea of how to incorporate a murder in a small town, of how a community really kind of bands together with a murder like this, and how all the local gossip comes around, how people know everybody knows everybody, and these secrets, and there are always more secrets that no one knows about except for one person. And as these mysteries keep unveiling and unveiling, you realize there's so much more to this town itself and the people within the town than what meets the eye. You get some in-depth characterization from people perhaps you weren't expecting to. For example, in this book, we get more characterization from a woman named Danielle than I was ever expecting to. I wasn't expecting to go so far deep into Danielle's story, even if it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the main plot of finding out, finding the murderer, but we get all of this characterization and backstory with Danielle as the book goes on. And it's really cool. And I also like that the characters feel very realistic and fleshed out. We get to see how people react to certain things, and their reactions are really realistic, like all the gossip that comes up like during the murder, and people talk when things happen, and you get to see this like gossip and people, oh well, so and so said this, so and so said this, I heard this, like people do in real life, and how gossip travels so quickly. It just makes it really interesting to see how people respond to things. And even Hannah, as our main character, she has a lot of really realistic responses to the situations at hand, and her inner monologues are always really great because it shows how she's feeling comparing to how she's acting at times. Like, she's acting and doing stuff to help the case, despite internally she's freaking out and scared of what's going on because she doesn't want to be caught by a murderer. So there's a lot of really cool, interesting dynamics with this book. It's very multifaceted. So of course you have the main plot of solving the murder. It's a murder mystery through and through. It is a whodunit. So the entire time our little amateur sleuth Hannah is trying to figure out who killed her friend, and that is like the main plot of what's going on. But there's so many other subplots throughout this book. You have the plot of Hannah's mother, the tense relationship she has with her mother, and how her mom is constantly trying to set her up to go on dates or to meet these single bachelors so that she can get Hannah a boyfriend or anything like that. And so you have this subplot of like Hannah and her relationship with her mother, but then you have Hannah's relationship with her sister, Andrea, and how that whole dynamic works. And then you have Lisa, Hannah's working assistant who works with her in the cookie jar. Their whole dynamic, their relationship, how we get to see some of Lisa's story and dive into her background with like her father and how she wants to be able to get out a little bit more. And we also get these very interesting dynamics with some potential love interest, you could say, because I definitely see romance as like a subplot of this series. It's a very, very slow burn. It's very much a slow burn, but it's there. So you get to see Hannah interact with Norman, how at first she's so put off at the fact that her mother even threw Norman her direction. And you kind of get to see how she interacts with him, maybe start warming up to him, maybe not. And you get to see the relationship between Hannah and Bill, with Bill being the one investigating the murder. He's the main officer on the case. And he also just happens to be Hannah's brother-in-law. So, it's a very interesting dynamic. It really gives this small town feel, and with it set in Minnesota, you really get the sense of how cold it can be with the winters that she describes. She's very good at just nailing that feeling of, oh, this is a Minnesota winter. This is what it feels like. This is how, people would react to that, how they manage to live even with the cold. Everything is very authentic. And I really like how personable it feels. This book is just very easygoing, very easy to read, but it also has some really good moments and a lot of really good writing. There wasn't really anything I particularly didn't like about the book. The pacing was very well done. It didn't slow down too much. If anything, there might have been like one or two moments in the book regarding Hannah and how she handles things that I personally wasn't a fan of, or like how there's one scene towards the end of the book where she's essentially just driving in circles and doing all these different U-turns and everything, and I personally didn't care for that scene. It didn't really make much sense to me of why she was being so erratic, because it hasn't been in her character to do anything like that. That was like the only real big scene that I didn't care for. But other than that, it was a really good book. I liked the ending. The ending was good. It ended a little quick, like after they caught the murderer, it ended a little quick. But there was like a aftermath scene of like a family dinner that kind of leads into where the next one would pick up with Hannah making a bet with her mother. I'm not going to say what it is, but the bet she makes with her mom at the very end kind of leans towards the next book of what one of these subplots is going to be in the next book. But for the murder itself and the mystery of the murder, which is the main plot of the book, I think it was pretty well done. I liked how the murder at the end was revealed. It wasn't overly obvious. There's a moment where it becomes obvious of who the murderer is, and then the reveal happens pretty much shortly after that. So that wasn't really a big deal because it's like, oh, nope, this is it. This is who it is. This is what's happening. This is not a good situation. So I think I think Joanne Fluke handled the reveal of the murderer pretty well, and the whole motivation of the murderer, why it happened, everything of the sort with that. So I think it was really good. I am probably going to read the next one of the series. I don't know if I'll do a review of the next one, depends. But for this one, yeah, this one was pretty good. I've never quite read a book like this where you get to solve a murder mystery, but you also get to learn some really cool recipes, because I'll read some of them. You have chocolate covered cherry delights, which I've read the recipe for. They sound fantastic. You also have, sugar cookies, chocolate chip cookies, but you also get some really interesting ones like these pecan chews or ginger crisps and more. I didn't read them all. And before I return this to my mother, I am definitely going to be writing all of those recipes down because I want them. It is really cool and unique. It's something I've never seen in a book before, where you get this kind of fourth wall break from the main protagonist of her teaching you how to bake while she solves a crime in real time in her timeline. It's so cool. Yeah, it really is. It's just a quaint little book that you can read. I read it every night before I went to bed. It was just a nice, soothing read, and it was fun to get engaged with these characters, to learn more about them. And with the way it's written, it really feels like you're beside Hannah the entire time. You're with her, helping her solve this murder. She's a very personable and relatable main character. She's very relatable as a main character. And I really enjoyed it because she's a character that you can easily relate to and feel like you're right there with her. You're in the book with her, helping her solve this murder, going with her through all of these investigations and seeing where it takes her. It's a really, really cool book, and if the rest of the books kind of follow the same format, I'm excited to read them. So all in all, I would probably rate this book All in all, I would probably rate this book about an 8.5 or 9 out of 10, just because there was a few things that I could critique about it, or that kind of took me out of the story, especially that one scene that I talked about earlier. But other than that, I had a lot of fun reading it. It was a nice quick read, just nice cozy murder mystery, and now I have a lot of baking to do, so that is going to be fun. But if y'all want to check out Joanne Fluke's book, I would highly recommend it. It's a perfect book if you want something to relax with, if you want to read and relax. This is the perfect book to do it with. It's something you can just grab a cookie, get some coffee, and just be at peace and just enjoy a good little story. And I will probably be reading more of Joanne Fluke's books in the future. But that is all for this video. If y'all liked it, please let me know down below if I have convinced you to give this book a try, if anything, just so y'all can learn more of these recipes. Let me know down below. If you have read this book, let me know what you thought about it, and we can have a conversation about this, because it's a fun little book. I want more people to talk about it with, because I'm going to be talking about it with my mom a lot. So be on the lookout for more of my videos. If you want to see more of my content, make sure you subscribe. And be on the lookout for everything that's coming this month. The schedule for this month should have been up by now for a long shot. It should be like mid-April by the time this video is being posted. So go check out my schedule for this month. It should be posted on that community tab so you can see what's been going on this channel. And other than that, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time, scholars. Bye!